This is a video on how I went about successfully guessing 6 out of 6 random names in Paul Springett's round 14 quiz. I'll put a link to his video in the description. There were 15 names and 6 names were drawn out at random, and it would be statistically unlikely for anyone to get them all right. Paul said the question this time was a guessing game and not a thinking one. Well, I think I went against the spirit of the question because I did think on it. I thought and thought, and I tend to get a little obsessed sometimes. So firstly, Paul shows us all the names because he doesn't want anyone to think they're being cheated. He's such a nice guy, he wants to show that everything's totally fair. Then he folds up all the names in the same sort of way and puts them into a bucket to be randomly drawn out. This is the first one to be pulled out, and we can't really see who it is yet. I should say that I took these screenshots in YouTube's full screen mode, and I used the full stop and comma buttons while the video is paused to jump forward and back by only one frame at a time. I did this to make sure I would get the screenshot with the best clarity. Okay, is that a T we see? This one here shows the T clearer. Also, notice how it's folded. Steel Pinnings is the only name that has a T in it and fits into this fold. Here we see a B, A, and possibly a C. Bill Picardi fits, and this shot confirms it. Next we have what I eventually matched up to a J and O. That would match John McCormick's name, and when Paul showed an underneath section, the H in this shot confirms it because John McCormick's name is the only name that has an H in it. Now things became more difficult to determine the names. Here I eventually thought I could see a PIC, and the only name that would fit is Vic's Pix. Next we have this one. I studied how Paul writes his characters, and I wrote out the names on my own pieces of paper and folded them so I would know which way around the letters would be, e.g. if they were mirrored or upside down or whatever, and then I could orientate my folded pieces of paper to the same way as I thought Paul was holding them, and then I could eventually match up an SKE for skeleton key. Next is the last one, and it's the most difficult by far. I could see there was no writing on the front, so I was looking for a short name that didn't start too soon on its piece of paper. And I could also see that it was folded short on one side. At first I thought it might be Dark Arts, but see that square that's chopped off a bit so that it's only showing half a square? That's how it should be. But Dark Arts one is a bit too big. Lockpicking Girls one, maybe that's a better size. But was Lockpicking Girls folded short on one end? I couldn't really see. But in a later shot, do we see the corner poking out of a short-ended fold? So that's why I thought it might be Lockpicking Girl. I wasn't sure, but I thought I had a good shot at all 6 names, and it turned out to be spot on. It took me about 6 hours to do all this, so there you go. It was either it could have been a big waste of time or it could have paid off. Thanks.